Good afternoon, friends. What to do if your cat runs away? The main problem is a misunderstanding of feline behavior. Projecting human psychology onto cats leads to them becoming completely lost, drastically reducing the chances of finding them. Time is against you. I'm not saying that if a cat runs away, the owner is automatically at fault. Many situations exist where a loving and caring owner still has a lost cat. I've personally experienced this about 1.5 times. Let me tell you about them. For example, I was taking out the trash. I knew my cat liked to sneak out to the playground and would try to escape any way it could, so I always made sure to lock the door securely. But this time, the latch wasn't properly engaged. When I returned, the door was ajar, and my first thought was, my cat ran away. I searched the apartment, and it wasn't there. I ran up and down the stairs, asking all the neighbors. No cat. The street door was thankfully closed. 20 minutes later, I found my cat sitting on my bed, looking at me with innocent eyes. Everything worked out, but the situation could easily have resulted in the cat running away completely. First, you should check if the main building entrance is open. Start your search from the bottom of the building, not the nearby playground. Second, remember that despite numerous stories about cats finding their way home from distances of over 1,000 kilometers, in most cases, especially among our group members, I've never heard of a cat returning home on its own. I have, however, heard many stories and witnessed firsthand that cats often exhibit a lack of geographical awareness. For example, my cat once escaped from my office because someone failed to secure the door properly. It didn't run. It slowly strolled off. I realized what happened 3 minutes after she'd slipped out. When I got to the landing, I heard a terrible, desperate meowing. She was scratching frantically, trying to get back inside. The apartment was on the same floor plan as mine. Our buildings are quite similar. Cats often get confused and rely on their own unique spatial cues. My cat didn't understand she was on a different floor. She'd gone for a walk and was now trying to get back into what she perceived as her apartment. There was another recent incident where someone's cat ran away and was found in the same building, but in a different apartment directly across the hall. These were identical buildings. The cat clearly recognized the familiar layout. A cat that escapes won't likely wander more than a couple of blocks or go to other neighborhoods. A house cat is unaccustomed to being outdoors. Even if you take your cat for occasional walks, the outside world is still a strange and frightening environment, filled with noise and unfamiliar people. Their first instinct is to hide, often in a nearby building, possibly within your own building or a neighboring one. If it bolted into the street, it might have dashed across the road to seek shelter in another building. Therefore, focus your search on nearby areas. Don't post a citywide missing cat ad. A runaway cat won't be sunbathing near the building entrance. Instead, it will display one of 2 likely behaviors. These behaviors depend on the cat's personality, and understanding your cat's temperament is crucial. The first type includes cats who have never been mistreated or lived outdoors and aren't former strays. They are generally relaxed around people. My cat, for instance, happily approaches guests and interacts with them. The second type includes cats who initially hide when guests arrive, observing before cautiously emerging if they sense no threat. Sometimes, they remain hidden until the guests leave. If your cat isn't afraid of people, there's a chance it might try to enter another apartment. Let me illustrate with 2 stories. First, my cat slipped on our balcony, falling onto the roof. It started screaming because it was scared. It was outside and disoriented. I saw it running around on the roof, meowing loudly and trying to climb back up but struggling to figure out how. Just then, a window opened. An elderly woman looked out, and as soon as she opened the window, my cat jumped in. It immediately darted under the sofa. This demonstrates the psychology of a cat not afraid of people. It sees the apartment and humans as safe. If your cat escapes into the building hallway and someone opens their apartment door, your cat might run inside. Furthermore, when someone sees a strange cat in the hallway, they might assume it's lost, abandoned, or thrown out. If the cat is clean and possibly wearing a collar, the person might think, I'll take it in. If I can't find its owner, I'll keep it, or at least, I can't leave this animal out in the cold. I'll put up posters, find its owner. If your cat is lost in the building, there's a good chance someone will take it in, out of compassion. If your cat doesn't fear people, the first thing you should do is print a poster with your cat's picture and the heading Missing Cat. Include your contact details. Post these posters on all the building entrances, especially your own. Post them both inside and outside the building, as outside posters can be easily removed. Residents seeing the posters will recognize your cat. This often works. Second, if you haven't found your cat nearby, put up posters in all the nearby buildings and structures. Don't post online forum announcements. I'll repeat it again. Your cat is likely in the area. Don't put them up in shops or at bus stops. Focus on building entrances. They may be taken down, but even a day is enough to help someone recognize your cat. Replace them if necessary. Please don't remove these posters. This is your first step if your cat's not in your building. Now, if your cat dislikes people or is fearful, hiding when guests come over, then your cat or kitten will likely hide quietly. Let me tell you about my cat Asia. When she was a stray, her previous owners abandoned her. A clinic worker found her and started treating her. However, when the clinic worker was carrying her, Asia broke out of her flimsy carrier and ran to the nearest building. They searched everywhere, but Asia stayed hidden for a week. Don't assume that just because you call your cat or think it might appear, it will. If your cat fears people, it might remain hidden for a long time. Asia only came out at night to forage for food in the trash. Once she'd eaten, she'd immediately run back to her hiding spot. You need to act decisively. After putting up posters, check basements. Access can be difficult, so you'll need to find out who has the basement keys and ask to check. Tell them you saw your cat run into the basement. Even if it's not true, it's a good way to get access. People will want to help. They'll give you the keys, especially if neighbors support you. Don't whine or cry. Focus on finding your cat. It's very likely it's hidden somewhere, perhaps in a basement, shed, or another building, or possibly even in a neighbor's apartment. When making a poster, understand human psychology. House cats that aren't afraid of people might enter other apartments. If someone sees a seemingly stray cat, especially on the street, they might take it in, thinking it was abandoned. The first assumption is often that the cat was discarded. They won't think you lost your cat unintentionally. The second thought might be to somehow return the cat to whoever abandoned it. But if you've posted a missing cat poster, they might assume you're an irresponsible owner and question your capability of caring for a cat. Even if someone who took your cat sees your poster, they might still return it without comment. To ensure your cat's return, add this to your poster in large letters after missing cat. Cat requires ongoing, expensive treatment, including medications. The cat is ill and needs costly treatment. Based on my experience, people respond much better to posters like this. They get a call the next day saying they found the cat. Why? Because people who take in stray cats usually want to help. They may have concerns, but most people are kind. Most people are good. We only notice the bad ones more prominently. So if someone took your cat, it was likely out of compassion, but when they see that this cat needs specific medical attention, that will motivate them to return it. They won't just abandon it. They'll likely call you. I know there might be concerns that they could still abandon the cat, but in such cases, giving the cat back to its owner is almost always the chosen action. Yes, there might be criticism, but in my experience, it's effective. Now, one last important point. I once saw a post in our group from a person whose cat, a free-roaming cat, hadn't returned. The owner threatened to harm anyone who found their cat. I'm addressing those who let their cats roam freely. Your cats are not exceptionally intelligent, nor are they naturally equipped to defend themselves against traffic, hostile children, or dogs. This is naive. It's also dangerous. Even more importantly, when people see a stray cat, they often assume it was abandoned. Therefore, freely roaming cats are often taken in by well-meaning people, and sometimes even by volunteers. The only acceptable reason for allowing your cat to roam freely is if you live in a rural area with a safe, natural environment, devoid of busy roads, aggressive children, dogs, and other dangers. If you live in a city or town and let your cat roam unsupervised, you're a terrible owner. No parent would let their 5-year-old child roam alone. The same logic applies to cats. Those who take their cats for walks using harnesses are commendable. It's a calming activity for both the cat and the owner. Cats don't need constant activity like dogs. They can stop to observe flowers and butterflies. If you're concerned about your cat's safety while outdoors, make sure it's regularly treated for fleas, ticks, worms, and other parasites. Use a harness and leash and supervise it closely. If you're interested in connecting with other cat owners who share knowledge about cat care, join our Give Kittens a Home group. We have over 10,000 members, all cat lovers and owners, with a wealth of information. Good luck, and may everything work out well with your cats.